Welcome back to 65 Drums. My name's Justin. So I recently got a chance to go play the F-Note 7X at the summer, or is it the spring? The Spring NAMM convention. This thing has been put off for a year because of COVID restrictions, but now it was finally back and I got to go try out a bunch of different electronic drums, and you'll see videos about that later on down the road on this channel. And so I wanted to share my thoughts on the good, the bad, and whether or not I think it's personally worth buying. So let's start off with the sizes of the drums and the specs of the module, then I'll talk about what I like and don't like about it. The kick drum is 20 by 15, the snare drum is 14 by 5.5, the toms are 11 by 8, 13 by 13, and 15 by 15. For the cymbals, you get a two-piece set of 14-inch hi-hats, a massive 20-inch ride cymbal, a 16-inch crash, a 17-inch effects cymbal, and finally an 8-inch splash cymbal. If you're worried about how much space this drum set will take up, here's the official numbers that the company gives on their website. It's like 5.6 feet wide by 4.1 feet deep. I really like this darker shell wrap, but if you want to get this in white, you could just buy the baseline F-Note 7 because it has the exact same module, and then buy whatever extra toms and cymbals that you want to replicate the 7X. Now for the module, it's upgraded over the 5 and the 3 series, but not really by that much in my opinion. You get 20 acoustic sounding drum sets inside, and 80 blank user kits that you can edit to your heart's content. The editing is pretty bare bones though. You can basically pan the drums, you can tune the drums, you can adjust the sustain, how long they ring out. You've got 2 band EQ for each pad, you can layer sounds, and you can adjust 8 different types of ambience. It's got multi-channel audio out over USB, and of course it does MIDI over USB as well. You've got regular right and left 1/4 inch outputs from the cable snake, and of course you got the headphone jack. Now the tricky thing about me reviewing this drum set, or giving my first impressions of the drum set, is that we don't really know the official price. I've reached out to multiple different music stores and the company itself, and nobody has an actual set in stone number yet because the drum set's not out and they haven't even set the pricing. But I've been told that a couple of different people are guessing that it's about $5,000. It could be more than that, it probably won't be less than that, but that's the current guess, about $1,000 more than the baseline F-Note 7. And it does come with a lot of extra components over the 7, so I think that extra $1,000 does make sense. The main competition of this drum set is probably the VAD 506, which costs about $300 more than what people are guessing the F-Note 7X will cost. I'm not going to make like a detailed comparison video right here about this drum set versus the VAD 506 from Roland. That might be for another day. Now let's break down what I personally think are the pros and cons of going with this drum set. Okay, so first of all, the sizes are on point. The kick drum is massive and does not budge an inch while you're playing. It feels great, and I think the added weight, the added shell size really helps. And of course, it's nice to have a 15-inch floor tom. Again, none of the big companies seem to go all the way and make a 16-inch floor tom. You still have to go with custom builders like Jobecki and Drumtech to get that. But this drum set, the sizes are close enough for me. I do think they could be a little bit longer because I have to push them all the way up to their max limit, but it works for me. The snare drum is also very fun to play on. I would have to adjust like the rim head adjustment or the rim gain to make it a little bit easier to trigger a rim shot. But other than that, it plays really well. The cross stick works great. It's a secondary raised wood rim that has its own sensor on the inside. So it does require another cable that goes over to the drum module. The only thing to mention about this, and also the competing ATV snare, is that you got to make sure the tips of your fingers as you're holding the stick don't hit the drum head before that you actually hit the rim. Because if you do that, it'll think you're trying to trigger a ghost note. So just make sure you sort of hold the stick in a way that you're not actually touching the drum head as you play cross stick. The hi-hats are once again great. They're a 2-piece setup with 14-inch sizes, and they trigger really, really well. The open and closed is very, very precise, and also the corresponding sounds have been excellently sampled, so you can actually take advantage of that preciseness. It's using multiple optical sensors, and that's how it's measuring how open and closed it is. It's not using a piston design. And the power is sent over this 5-pin connection, which unfortunately means that you can't use these hi-hats with other third-party drum modules. All the cymbals have high quality rubber that they're using. It's kind of like a lighter gray sort of look that makes it stand out compared to other cymbals. Whether you like it or not, it does look unique and different. They feel nice, they have 360 triggering, you can choke them all around the cymbal, you can play in the back, on the front, it doesn't matter if they spin around. It's the largest all rubber ride cymbal in the entire industry. No one makes something like this. Most of the competition uses 18-inch ride cymbals at this price range, and that's kind of where they max out. Something I really appreciate is that the bell zone is fairly large. It's very easy to hit it. Sometimes electronic cymbals seem to have these tiny little bell zones that are just easy to miss, and I don't like that. But of course, the star of the show that probably immediately caught your eye is the cymbal stack. So on top we have an 8-inch splash cymbal and a 17-inch effects cymbal. It's basically emulating like an ozone crash. I like the fact that they have this like wavy pattern on the edge that really helps sell the look, and these larger holes that go around it. It's very similar to the ATV version of the same cymbal. I think actually ATV and F-Note are made in the exact same factory. The cool thing is that these cymbals are kind of like sympathetic. They basically have a good version of crosstalk going on. If I hit the top cymbal, the bottom one will also ring out because that vibration transfers to the bottom cymbal. And it's kind of cool. Of course, you can change the sounds. It doesn't have to be like an effect type cymbal sound. Actually, with most kits, I didn't even notice a single like ozone style sound. It was all either China's or crash cymbals, but you can assign it to be whatever you want within the given sound set. And if you don't like having the cymbal stacked like that, you can actually just mount the splash cymbal on a separate arm that I believe comes in the box. Now moving over to the drum module, they've improved the little cell phone tray that goes underneath of it. It's got like this better rubber housing on it so your phone doesn't slip off and doesn't get scratched up. They've also got a brand new app for all their drum sets called F-Note Tools. I downloaded it while I was at the convention center, and it's pretty bare bones at the moment. What you can do is you can save a kit, you can upload a kit, you can save trigger settings, you can upload trigger settings, you can preview your pads, you can adjust pad levels, and you can swap pads. But really what it was built for is to allow you to grab kits they've uploaded to the F-Note website, bring them down into your cell phone, either iOS or Android, and then upload it to the module over Bluetooth. Now, I do want to mention that the app does seem slightly finicky at the moment because it's using Bluetooth. You have to send data and pair it to the module. You got to make sure that all works. But I did see it work. They downloaded an F-Note 7X special kit that you have to get from the website, and they sent it over to the module. These are pre-existing sounds that have been used in a different combination to create a new kit. Kind of like if you buy a kit for your Roland drum set on vexpressions.com, the app still is in the gimmicky stage for me because all you can really do is some very, very simple things. When it will be actually useful is if they eventually upgrade it so you can tune the drums, where you can layer sounds, where you can adjust the ambience all from your phone instead of the awful screen built into the module itself. That's when this will actually unlock the potential of what they built. At the moment, Yamaha is the king of drum module apps. So maybe if they follow their lead, then this will be really something worth downloading. All right, so now let's switch over to talking about the built-in sounds. This is going to be a personal thing. Go watch all the video playthroughs out there, including this one, and sort of figure out if this is the right vibe for your drumming and the type of music that you like playing to. I like the sounds. There's 20 natural sounding built-in kits that will work for a lot of people. Just there's nothing like crazy in-your-face, super compressed, drum sounds that you might expect that other brands focus on a little bit more heavily than F-Note. I wouldn't recommend this to metal drummers unless you're using software. And I know this works pretty well with software because I've used the F-Note 5X with Superior Drummer 3, and it works great as long as you map it correctly. Okay, so those are all the good things that I really like about the drum set. But now let's talk about some of the downsides that I've noticed. This is very obviously a wrap. If you take a look at like the same wrap that's on the F-Note 5X, the seam is very obvious. The output selection is pretty sparse for a module in this price range. I would expect to have at least 4, programmable outputs. I guess you could technically use the headphone output and map that, but I'm talking about headphone jack as its own separate thing, plus having 1, 2, 3, 4 separate 1/4 inch outputs, like the Roland TD27 and I believe the Yamaha DTX Pro X. The reason why having 4 outputs at a minimum on a drum set of this, caliber and this price range is useful is that generally you'll have kick going out of 1, you'll have snare going out of 2, and then 3 and 4 will be a right and left feed of the toms and the cymbals. That way your front of house sound engineer will have control over the kick and snare volume, which is important if you play this live. And you very well might want to play with this live. It would be great for venues that need a softer volume. Something else that I'm a little bit sad about is that they haven't fixed the screen. They should switch this out for a new kind of technology like what you get on a cell phone. There have been times where I've tried to press like the back arrow on other F-Note drum sets and it doesn't work until you go through the calibration process. Also, drum sets at this price range, they all have compression settings. Drum sets at this price range, they all have multiple bands of EQ, not just two. And that's something that's missing here, along with the ability to import samples. You can't do that here either. All right, so that's my personal pros and cons list, in my opinion, after playing it a couple of days. But now let's take a step back and talk about whether or not this drum set is worth buying. In my opinion, especially for the people that just want a simple drum set that has a bunch of acoustic kits inside, doesn't have a really complicated module interface, and they want to have acoustic sizes that look pretty nice, this module hits all those targets, and it's great for that kind of person. It's also a great drum set for people that use drum software like me. I use Superior Drummer 3 and Steven Slate, and because I use those softwares, I don't need the module to do that much. I just need it to have low latency and trigger very well. And this drum set does both of those things beautifully. So I would be more than happy to replace the drum set behind me with a 7X. It would not change my life. Like, it's a really solid drum set. But of course, there's plenty of people out there where this would not be a good choice for them. For example, if you're playing live and need to have individual outs for everything, then this drum set can't do that. Also, if you like to spend a lot of time adjusting virtual room mic placement and adjust like the shell depth virtually of everything, then maybe the VAD 506 would be a better choice for you. Purchasing a drum set is all about finding out what you personally care about and what you need the drum set to excel at. And if you find a drum set like the F-Note 7X that fits what you need, then get it. And if you find that it doesn't have certain things that you need, don't get it. It's that simple. But as of right now, F-Note's doing a lot of things right, and I'm interested to see in what they do next. That's been the video. Thank you so much for watching. Keep an eye out on the channel because I've got a lot more videos coming from NAMM, and I hope you guys enjoy them too. See you later.